Good morning, everyone. Today marks day 5 of our 3-day planned soybean bin emptying adventure. Hey, at the pace we're going, we may make it 2 weeks just to get 23,000 bushels out of a bin. Not the most impressive work. When I took off at the end of the previous video, frustrated and defeated after our lack of success initially, we had gotten the sumps unplugged and the center sump open on the bean bin. However, we found out that the power sweep is not working, which is what we're gonna have to fix today. Fortunately, we've already kind of got all of our troops in the right field because we've got the little sweep in there to uncover the gearbox. I mean, it couldn't have happened at a more convenient time. We're literally ready to fix the problem because we had a problem that related to the problem. I'm not gonna bore you with the same stuff we've already had to do in the previous video. I'll meet you over there once we get the trucks there and the sweep set and get the gearbox uncovered. Great. Add that to the list of problems. I probably could have told you that was gonna happen. My truck's just not been too chipper the last few weeks when I started it in the morning, and that's the ultimate result. I'd say that there's either a slow battery drain somewhere or the batteries just need replaced. And it's cold, batteries don't work that well when it's cold. At least one truck started. We can handle the other one later. So for those of you who don't understand exactly what's going on here, this right here is the main power sweep that is supposed to do what this miniature power sweep is doing. This big one is integrated with the out auger. There's a gearbox and a drive dog in there underneath the, let's say, east side here under a panel. The main sweep is not wanting to power on. Had that happen before. Soybeans are just hard on grain handling equipment, so it's probably worn out something in the drive mechanism. As opposed to sweeping a couple hundred, maybe even 500 plus bushels out of the way, we brought the mini sweep in initially to unplug the holes in the middle because the bin was plugged in the first video and the center sump broke. You have to watch the video before this to understand that problem. In completely ironic fashion, the power sweep also didn't work. So we already had the sweep in here. We're just letting it move these beans out of the way so I can scoop out the gearbox, drive shaft area, panel, whatever it's called. And then we'll get in there, open it up and see if we can fix it and use the main power sweep to actually efficiently clean the floor. It's time to take a brief minute to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, TEMU. TEMU is an online marketplace that offers the most competitively priced products in multiple categories. I doubt there's anywhere in the world where you are going to find higher quality products at a cheaper price than through TEMU. From farm to home, from zip ties to tools, and everything in between, TEMU has what you need and they have it at unbeatable prices. On top of their extensive item list and bargain pricing with sales and savings up to 90% off, they do have free shipping and free returns for up to 90 days. If this is something that may be of interest to you, TEMU is also sweetening the deal by offering a $100 coupon. If you download the TEMU app with a link on the video or on the app, use code DKY7279 to get started on your order today. At the very least, between their extensive list of items at an unbelievable price, as well as with the $100 coupon, it is worth checking out. You can also go in, see the customer reviews, and see if items are worth purchasing or passing on. TEMU stands behind their service as a whole. They offer a $5 credit for late deliveries, and if something that you order on their site drops in price within 30 days, you can request a partial refund. By just spending a few minutes on their website or app, you'll see exactly what I've been talking about in terms of selection and pricing of tools, trinkets, and everything in between. You definitely need to head over to TEMU and see what they have to offer. I, for one, was very shocked to see similar tools to what are offered at our local box stores with much more competitive prices. There's things on there that you could go buy right next door and pay 2 or 3 times as much for. One last time before we head back to the regular content, use code DKY7279 on the TEMU app to get your $100 coupon. Thanks again to TEMU for sponsoring today's video. Everyone check them out. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. We've reached the promised land. Here's the gearbox cover, drive system cover. I don't know if it's actually a gearbox. Just got these bolts around the outside. Pop those off and we'll take the cover off. It's not the first time we've had to do this, so that's how we know the procedure for getting in here. Oh, look at that. 2 new holes in the bin. I must have installed those the other day. In case you're wondering, I took off my big overface respirator because it kept steaming up and it makes it hard to work. I've just got this cheap one. There she is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a very quick rundown on how this system works. Right here, there is a little collar with what should be 3 bolts sticking out. Those are always spinning. They come off of the auger drive shaft, the out auger drive shaft. They're just on there, it's spinning. In this system right here, you've got your drive dog that's got these little hooks on it, and this lever system that runs all the way outside. When we pull that lever on the outside of the bin, it engages the drive dog around the out auger spinning part, and that in turn runs to this gearbox, engages the chain, it spins the sweep auger. The issue is, from my very quick analysis, that we're missing 2 of the 3 bolts that the drive dog is supposed to grab. So I think that should fix it. Looks like the dog itself is in good shape. We replaced that a year or 2 ago because it wore out. Just one of those things that doesn't last very long. Entirely sure that it should spin that freely. Got my 1/2-inch ratchet drive set. I'm gonna take this bolt off and then get a few more and thread them in there. Like I said, it's not the first time this has happened. There's the bolt we're gonna get 3 more of. And I just remembered when I was taking it out, the bolt is actually what helps secure the collar to the shaft. So the lack of the 2 other bolts is probably why it had so much play. I'm gonna run and get a couple more of these. One could make the fair argument that it was unnecessary to drive into our John Deere dealership because we probably have these bolts in the bin at home. At the same time, I do welcome a nice little relaxing drive into town. Besides, Jeff was pretty much close to full, so we just went ahead and sent him to the elevator, get 1 load off the truck. My truck's on the battery charger, and then hopefully by next load, sweeps on, get both trucks running and finish this bin by 2 or 3 o'clock. That right there, folks, is what I like to call toxic optimism. I always oversell, I think. Something else is gonna go wrong based on how we're going so far. Holy smokes, look at this beast. 9RX 640. This is like doing window shopping for Ferraris after riding your bicycle to work because your motorcycle broke down. I think we got smaller fish to fry first. I bet that thing is a monster in the field. Maybe someday, although they're pretty proud of the pricing on these, I've heard, so maybe never. Chris, will you just barely flip the out auger on and off?
Oh,
Just really fast. One more time. That should be good. Don't touch it again. Flip the sweep auger around for just a 1/2 second. Do it again. Do it one more time. Do it again. Well, we replaced the bolts, but it's not wanting to spin, so maybe the bolts don't hold it in. There's a key somewhere we don't have in. Shear bolt maybe. One more time. That is supposed to be spinning into that hex shaft, so something is definitely broken in there. Slid the auger out a little bit just to show you what's going on. That shaft that should be a hex is rounded off. We're going to see if we can get it farther in here and hopefully finish this bin. If not, I don't know what we're going to do. Definitely going to need to replace sooner rather than later. This was already complicated and has just gotten much more complicated. So unfortunately, my right-hand maintenance man, or maybe I'm the right-hand maintenance man, he's the main guy, is recovering from his shoulder surgery, aka my dad. So he's not been around a whole lot. I mean, he's working on more management side stuff. I've been doing ground level stuff. I'm gonna call him, see what he thinks. This may be out of our control Really need to pull that shaft somehow. It's gonna be hard to do with beans in there. So I'll see what he says. He's not gonna answer. Go figure.
You get it fixed?
Oh, there he is. No, we didn't. I replaced the
What's wrong?
I replaced the bolts on the collar because two of them were missing. I thought that'd fix it, and then it turns out, although that was an issue, the main issue is that where the out auger ends and slides into the hex shaft or the square shaft that drives the sweep auger drive, it's completely rounded out or broken out or whatever. So I don't know if we need to, I don't know if that's easy to fix or if we just need to weld them together for now, and if it all needs replaced we can cut them off after, or just call York's.
Oh, just call York is what I would do at this point.
Okay, all right. Because it's just I tried pulling the auger and realigning it, but it won't go any farther on than where it's been sitting.
So this is below the floor or above the floor?
It's in the center sump. It's where the end of the out auger, it slides into a shaft, and the shaft it slides into is what spins the collar that the sweep auger drive engages onto, and there's no traction, I guess, or grit at the end. It's just the out auger is just spinning around the shaft because it's worn out.
Well, I just call York.
Yeah. Jeff, we could move to another bin and start hauling corn, but he said with the forecast he just doesn't think we should set to another bin.
He's probably right. Just see if they can come over and...
Okay, how old is it? 20 years old?
Oh, whenever they put the bin up, a long time.
Well, on Sukups, all they got on the end of there is a square washer that's welded to the end of the pipe.
Okay. It's broken off. You think that's what happened?
Well, it might have broke the weld off, or it might have rounded it out on the inside.
Okay. I mean, I could probably fish my phone in there and take a picture for you.
That would work.
Okay. Well, how about I go do that, and then I'll send you a picture, and then you call me when you
When I get it, okay.
Okay, it's kind of a tough angle, so I'll get a good picture. See ya. It's been an hour or so. One of the guys from York Bin Co. stopped by. He said he actually helped build this bin like 30 years ago, so he may know a thing or two about it. He claimed that the best route forward, because the flighting is also worn out, is to probably go ahead and replace the flighting and also replace this drive shaft on the inside. He thinks it can be done with the level of grain that's in the bin currently. They have the flighting in stock. He's not sure if they have that square drive shaft, but I think that's what we're gonna do. Another option we had just to get by is that we could have welded everything together. He did warn though that if you weld them together, especially because it's already in bad shape, that it may just go ahead and become brittle enough that it snaps. On top of that, it does need replaced anyways, so you're gonna have to cut it off sooner rather than later, meaning you may as well just go ahead and use all of your labor at once and have it fixed. That's an unfortunate development in this project. I told you earlier that nothing was gonna go the way we anticipated, and this bin continues to be disastrous. Ultimately, we're not going to get this finished today. We got everything out that really matters, everything on the floor. I mean, it's not gonna go bad on us here in the cold of winter. It's the top stuff that causes issues. As opposed to doing nothing for the rest of the day, which sounds pretty nice right now, I'm gonna do something else I've been dragging my feet on, which is replacing the batteries in the old Hagee, because I think they're kind of low. I'm actually not even entirely sure where the batteries are. I think they're under here somewhere, but I don't know if I need to open the hood or how we do this. This'll gal's due for a full service oil, hub oil, filters, everything like that, but it's a little cold to do that today. There's a battery. I don't know how many we have in there. It's like we got 2 John Deere batteries in here, fairly large ones. It says shipped in 2020, which would make them 3 to 4 years old depending on when they were installed. I might as well go ahead and replace them just for peace of mind and uptime in the spring and summer. I'm gonna go get my tools, fire up some music, see if I can get those loose. I'll check in with you guys if anything noteworthy happens. I've got to give Deere and or Hagee credit where it's due. Everything so far has been the same wrench size. Usually when you take batteries off, it takes one size to get the positive terminals, one size for the negatives, different size for the brackets, but this one's been relatively easy other than just being pretty cramped in here. No big deal, making good progress. I guess time will tell if they'll come out easily or if this will be a nightmare. Come on, please. Oh. Now what do I do? Put on the ladder. Well, folks, I think these are getting replaced even if they're not bad. I went through all this trouble. What do you think those are? 150 bucks a pop? 200 bucks? I bet they're not cheap. For the longest time, I was kind of the one always offering support holding the flashlight for my dad, but you know, in a way, I'm very grateful for all those opportunities to work behind them, because now that he's not able to work here, you know, at least temporarily, it's nice to have the knowledge and the skill set and the confidence to be able to work on some of these jobs yourself and get them done and do them right. I'm very grateful for all that experience working with my dad, and although he frustrates me at times and still does to this day, you know, I probably wouldn't have the opportunities or the knowledge and wisdom that I do without his guidance. So I know some of you probably don't get the opportunity to work with your family. It's got its pros and cons, that's for sure. I probably shouldn't even mention it. This is going way faster than the bin project has, relatively speaking. We are infinitely ahead of schedule with this so far. And on the bin, well, kind of like infinitely behind schedule. So they balance out in a way, you know. This is gonna take about 20 minutes. The bin, we're on day like 6 or 7. $220 later, and we're headed home with 2 new batteries. The gentleman at Battery Specialist said they did have a tiny bit of fight left in them. I said I went through the trouble of getting them out. A tiny bit of fight is not worth putting them back in and then replacing them in a couple of months. So we got new ones. Actually went in there fairly easy. I've got the 2 new batteries hooked up. Let's see how these cold cranking amps perform, and I guess if they're even hooked up correctly. Well, it started, obviously. I'm not going to say that it sounded exceptionally spry, although this thing doesn't seem to cold start that well anyways. I guess until we come across evidence otherwise, we can say that the battery system is refreshed. We're still waiting on a somewhat decent day outside to get the precision planning reclaim system installed on the Hagee. I have talked to our local and maybe even regional precision planning expert, Cy Hopper. He is going to help facilitate the install. He said it's really not that complicated, it just takes some time, and with the fittings in particular on everything, if it's warmer outside, it seems to help. So, not really too concerned about it because I don't think it's an entirely lengthy process. Should have it on by spring. We'll talk more about it when we actually install that. Other than that, as I mentioned earlier, we need to get it serviced. And then I may change out some tips this year, try something new, although I haven't made up my mind on that one. Would you look at that? We finally got a little bit of rain overnight and into this morning. I'd say we're knocking on an inch, which is a pretty good thing because we're still dry here, although it doesn't look like it now. When they initially forecasted this storm like 10 to 14 days ago, they were calling for a blizzard, 7-8 inches of snow, and then we're just gonna end up with an inch of rain. You guys know how the forecasters are. They're already trying to project what's gonna happen next summer here in the United States with our growing conditions, and they can't even nail a forecast 14 days out. And I'm not degrading forecasters. I think predicting the weather is one of the hardest things to do, which leads me to the question, why are we trying to say what's going to happen this summer other than just for conjecture? Because obviously we can't even figure out what's right in front of us, let alone what's 6 months down the road. Because we typically do not haul once the driveways get very soft like this, I'm gonna go ahead and run my truck into town, assuming it's gonna start because my heater's not working. Our mechanic that we've always used, Todd, thinks that some kind of heater ignition switch or some kind of control thing is bad. Something that we probably couldn't effectively fix ourselves. Says it's kind of complicated under the cab somewhere. And this week's not an issue, but next week they're calling for almost sub-zero temperature. So if it starts, and it should because it's been on the charger all night, we're gonna run her into town and get her fixed today. easier, I am going to go dolly down the trailer over at Jeff's where we got plenty of room. Looks like I better hurry because the rain looks dense to the west. The main problem with working in the rain is getting wet. I know that's a groundbreaking revelation for you all, but I thought I'd share that. We made it to S&S service shop here on Route 45 south of Mattoon. Todd's been our trusted service man for a long time. I'm sure he'll get it straightened out. Don't know that it'll be cheap, but hopefully it'll be fixed. Usually cheap and fixed don't go hand in hand. Alrighty folks, fast forward to the end of the day. We actually already brought the truck back. They got to fix some kind of control unit they had to replace. We are pretty much done for the day. Kind of this on and off wintry, snowy, rainy mix, so not going to be super productive. I think that means I'm going to take off. I'll definitely see you when I see you. I don't know what the future holds. Hopefully we get that bin fixed shortly. As always, everyone, I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. Catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!